Okay. Hi everybody. Hi everybody. That's your friend Daniel Hutchins. We're back again, and yeah, we just had to kind of hesitate there for a minute. Um, we had a little moment of hesitation. There was a bunch of old ladies, driving up the road in their golf clubs, in their golf carts. So yeah. But yeah. Anyway, we're going back over to the gym again. Because apparently, I don't really have that much other stuff to do out here in the city of Albuquerque. There's really not much I can do. So all I can really do is hang out at the gym. Because at the gym it's free. And all I need to do is scan in to the with the card with the barcode on the back, scan at the front gate, and the awesomeness continues from there. Um, so it kind of goes without saying that there was a really solid reason why I go on these long walks and these adventures when I don't have the series Albuquerque Adventures in the name anymore, because I'm already doing it every day anyway. And yes, I'm doing it every day anyway. And now, since I've become so acclaimed to waking up at like 7, 8 a.m., thanks to my sister, now it's like, school season's going to be here pretty soon. Summer's going to be ending soon. And I need to get back in the habit of waking up earlier. So, if that means I have to go to bed earlier, that means I might not do as many late night videos. And late night videos will only be like on select nights. More specifically, more weekends. Not so much the early week, but more weekends. You will probably see late night videos on that accord. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. What's up? How's it going? I see you guys are watching. Okay. Well, we got a little bit of just devastating news. Um, you know how like over at Lucasfilms, and Star Wars, how we were supposed to be getting a bunch of movies, what they call the Rian Johnson trilogy. When I mentioned only just briefly about how we were supposed to get the Rian Johnson trilogy of Star Wars 7, 8, 9. Well, apparently, I read online from a guy named Star Wars Theory, the guy, who's an increased racist who wears that Order 66 hat. I read his article today saying, oh yeah, Lucasfilm has just let go of the artist Rian Johnson. Why they got rid of Rian Johnson? Well, I can tell you, first off, Rian Johnson, he was supposed to have a Star Wars trilogy of his own. That was supposed to be his reimagined episode 7, 8, and 9. Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and The Rise of the Skywalker. However, the problem is, now, since you let go of Rian Johnson, now it's going to be, it doesn't seem like it's really necessary anymore because, Disney has set the ground. So then, since they set the groundwork, had Rey go through the whole transformation of being a nobody into being a Skywalker, just assuming the name Skywalker, and then it's like, oh yeah, I used to be a nobody. My parents were killed. I lived as a slave on the planet Jakku. Then I found there was this old droid that looked like a spherical ball named BB-8. And then it conversed the rest of that trilogy. It had other characters that were quite honestly kind of dumb. I mean, you had the Rebel Resistance, but it was very, very small. I mean, it was still a ragtag team of guys, you know, right underneath General Leia. No longer Princess Leia, but General Leia. Then, you know, when you go to the whole idea of like the Disney Star Wars trilogy, you're like, oh yeah, Princess Leia is General Leia. Then you have the First Order, and that's a whole mess itself, because the First Order was supposed to be, you know, what happened after Darth Vader died on the Death Star 2 on 1983. However, you fast forward that time 30 years later, it's like, oh, well, why do we know Kylo Ren is Ben Solo, who ended up being Luke Skywalker's nephew? So, about that, Luke Skywalker, when he became a Master Jedi, he felt so embarrassed by the mere fact he failed to build the new Jedi Order. And because Luke Skywalker lived on an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, somewhere up in Ireland, you know, lived the rest of his days as an old grumpy hermit who doesn't want to train no one. And he's told Rey, if you want to be a Jedi, train on this island alone. Leave me out of it. And that's how grumpy Luke Skywalker became. And Mark Hamill, I know, he's like, I don't know, 72 now, but still, he's like when he saw Rey in the second movie, The Last Jedi, he's like, well, you see, the prophecy goes that I was supposed to bring back the new Jedi Order, but you see, the problem is, when I tried to train Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren, well, you see, I failed. And so, if you want to be a Jedi, go ahead, train on this island alone. I have all the books, I have all the teachings, I have all the manuscript, I have all the text, the ancient text of, you know, the once great Jedi Order. But if you want to be a Jedi, you're going to have to, you know, train on this island alone, because I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to help you with that anymore, because I already feel like the Jedi has failed. Also, whatever you do, just leave me out of it, okay? And also, yeah, tell my sister I said hi. That's kind of like what Luke did when he saw Rey on the Last Jedi. Okay, more or less. And then after that, it's like, oh, well, then we saw the transformation of Rey from episode 7 to episode 8, and then to episode 9. It's like, oh yeah, okay, sure. We always know Rey, you know, as that nobody from the desert planet of Jakku, who didn't have a family. Her parents are probably missing or dead, and she has no family lineage, besides the fact there's Grandpa Palpatine. But that was kind of what happened in episode 9, where it's like all of it was fan service. It's like, oh, Grandpa Palpatine, well, oh, yeah, that's right. You know, there was that whole plot hole that was explained, I don't know, like 5-6 years ago. It's like, oh yeah, Rey is the granddaughter of Palpatine. But then when Palpatine tried to take a body and clone himself on the Sith planet Exegol, it's like when he had the final, when they did the final duel and they fought the final straw, Emperor Palpatine was like, I am all the Sith. And then Rey came back and interjected again and said, I am all the Jedi. And then the Jedi Force Ghosts were behind Rey, and they were backing her up all the way until Emperor Palpatine, his body just disintegrated. And he's like, and he's cackling and laughing. He's like, no. And then when the force of energy just, collapsed altogether, and it's like, oh, well, what became of Kylo Ren? Well, he renewed himself as Ben Solo at the end of episode 9, just, well, Ben Solo actually sacrificed his life so that Rey could live forward. I mean, okay. I mean, there's a little bit of relationship between Ben and Rey, but it's like, oh yeah, so Ben had to sacrifice himself just so Rey can continue following the Jedi Order, or try to restore the Jedi Order, after constantly getting reminded by Luke Skywalker saying, hey, if you wanna be a Jedi, you're gonna do this alone. You're not gonna have me around here to help you there forever. So then that's like, oh, okay. That's like when you really got the grumpy Luke Skywalker. Like from episode 8 all the way up until near the end. It's like, if you want to train this island and be a Jedi alone, do it on your own. Do it on your own. I'm not going to help you. I was like, oh, okay, master. I was like, yeah, that's how grumpy and irritable Mark Hamill has become in the Disney sequels. It's like, yeah. And then, it's like, oh. And then fast forward to 2025, the year we're still in. It's like, oh yeah. And there's a reason why Disney Plus was created during the height of the pandemic. Disney Plus was created in the pandemic, during the height of the pandemic, because it's like, oh yeah, well, what's Star Wars going to do? And what's Marvel going to do, since they're going to be pumping out less movies? Well, then the people at Disney were like, oh, we need to make a streaming service. And that's why you have like stuff like Mandalorian, WandaVision, Loki, and all that other stuff. But it's like, honestly, I'd have to say the television and Disney Plus success for Star Wars Universe and for Marvel Universe, it has its ups and it has its downs. But lately, it feels like it's like, oh, well, recently it feels like, oh, now since Bob Iger is like saying like, oh, we're going to have to cut down the budget on the Marvel films. Oh, we're going to have to cut down the budget on Star Wars, or cut down the budget on this, or cut down the budget on that. It's like, come on, Bob. I know you're trying to refix or retool your Disney stuff, but please at least give us something. Not like this garbage that we had this year, or the garbage we had last year. Oh man, I can tell you, 2023, yeah, that had some hot garbage. 2024, yeah, that also had some hot garbage. Especially this year. Oh, yeah, on contraire. I have to say, yeah, Disney Plus is like a market engine that's like, oh, if we want to, invest, I don't know, a couple million to produce a 6-episode run or a 9-episode run of something that may be good or may be bad, who knows? But anyway, that's when the Disney becomes the monopoly, and it's like, oh, We're gonna rule everyone. We're gonna rule everyone with like Mickey with the Infinity Gauntlet. We're gonna be like re-rule it all. Yeah, kind of. And then you realize, oh, yeah, that's right. That's why you have less people going out to the movie theater to go see the Disney movies. That's why it's like, oh, instead of doing something new and original, you'll rather be like, oh, we're going to take franchises that are already good and try to make them better. I don't know, like, example, Snow White, Lilo and Stitch, um, and other live action reboots. It's like, you don't have an original idea in your head, do you, Bob? But yet you want to be like, oh, I'm just going to take intellectual property or IP that already exists in the Disney Vault, take it out, and then try to pander it. Pander it and, hope and pray that it makes box dollar. And then you realize, oh, yeah. And then Pixar, meanwhile, over at Pixar Studios has the worst of it. Because if you look at the recent releases of Pixar Studios, oh my gosh. Pixar Studios is a big mess. Yes, Pixar Studios is a big mess. And it's like their animators don't even care anymore. You mean, you keep getting sequel, and when you try to make something original and you think it's going to be good, but no, it won't. I mean, for example, Elemental. For example, the new movie Elio, or for example, Turning Red, or Onward, or Soul, or Luca. Yeah, all that stuff. It's like, oh yeah, well those are some of the Pixar projects they made through the 2020s. It's like, yeah, yes and no, because like it's like you realize it's like, yeah, Disney's just a marketing machine that just keeps pumping out content, whether it's good, bad, hasn't been checked or not. It's like, oh, we're just going to try to waste billions and billions of taxpayer dollars just so we can have a tax write-off and be like, okay, yeah, okay. What do we owe the IRS at Disney? I don't know, $1 billion. Yeah, that's right, $1 billion. It's like, okay. And it's like, it doesn't matter if people are going to still go to the theater or be subscribed to Disney Plus, because the Disney Plus content and just anything of the Disney content in the Disney family name, it's all just going to be hot steaming piles of garbage. It's all just going to be a hot steaming pile of garbage. And it's like, oh, well, guess we'll have to try again next year. And then you realize, oh, well, why did our films not do so good? I don't know. Maybe because you had no creativity, or maybe you have a lack of creativity, or maybe it's because your animators don't care, or maybe it's because you work in your visual effects team, to the last minute and say, hey, fix this for me. Hey, fix this for me. And you realize why people don't go to the theater. Because it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. It's like, yeah, you wake up, you turn on your TV, you have a trailer for a Disney movie on your TV set, and like your kid's like, I want to see that, I want to see that, I want to see that. And it's like, really? Really, kid? Really? And then you realize, like, oh, why is Disney, the struggling studio? Well, I've kind of tried you guys on that about 100 times here on the channel. So, if your name is Patrick Star, you live under, then it's time you wake up. Because remember, guys, at the end of the day, we only see what we see. Even even if we wanted to change it, it's like, oh boy, oh howdy. I wish we could go in the Disney studios or break in the Disney studio and be like, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? But ultimately, we cannot do that. We just cannot do that. And even if we wanted to, I don't think we can. I mean, I understand, like, here at Hutchins Hut, I advocate for you guys to, stick with me and restore the comic book human pieces of it that I'm only here. Yeah, of course you are, Mr. Douchebag. You're only there just to make money. You're only there to work for Disney and make maybe I want to just make a reboot of every Disney property of existence. Well, meanwhile Walt Disney himself is rolling and tossing in his grave saying, why did you do this to my resort? Why did you do this to my theme park? Why did you do this to my movies? Why did you tarnish my legacy? Well, I'm pretty sure Stan Lee feels the same way. When Marvel's like, Stan Lee and Walt Disney, they're probably both rolling in their graves, tossing and turning in their graves, saying, why are you destroying my legacy? Why are you going around and destroying my legacy? Well, I can tell you one thing. Well, since they're not here, and like I said, which is real unfortunate, we just have to sucker up Buttercup. We have to sucker up Buttercup because it's going to be a rough ride ahead. It's going to be a rough ride ahead where it comes to Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and even Warner Brothers. It's going to be a rough ride ahead. Okay, it's going to be a rough ride ahead. Make no mistake. It's going to be a rough ride ahead. So, it takes one to know one. But again, I'm still walking. Yes, I'm still walking. So, I'll see you on a future episode.